Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. And today we're going to be talking all about the Trump tariffs that were announced today. So today was a very highly anticipated day for the markets, April 2nd, also known as Liberation Day. And this is the day when all the reciprocal tariffs were to be announced, which happened right as the markets closed. So in the after hours of the market, Trump came out and talked all about the tariffs and did a big announcement at the White House. The markets did not react too well, as most plays, most ETFs, and almost all cryptos fell off a cliff. So everything did have a pretty big downtick to finish the day. And again, this all happened in the after hours. And this was just because of the news about these tariffs. And so this just continues the overall downtrend we have been seeing in the markets. And the tariffs that were announced were the reciprocal tariffs. And so these are going to be on a set of all different countries. There's going to be a baseline 10% tariff, and then there is going to be a bigger tariff for certain countries. And so just looking at this list right here, we could see some pretty big ones here. We could see that China has a 34% tariff, Vietnam with a 46% tariff. We have Sri Lanka down here with a 44% tariff, and overall, just some pretty big percentage tiles on all these different countries. But then again, when you look at what the tariffs charged to the US are, the numbers are even larger from their side. So 34% does seem like a lot, but you could see that China has a 67% tariff against the US, and Vietnam has a 90% tariff against the US. And so overall, understandably so, again, Trump has been talking all about these tariffs and how he is just trying to fix the overall economy. This does look like a positive in this sense, at least, as this should help us with the trade deficits. So there's a pretty mixed bag of opinions online about this. On the positive side, this could boost US manufacturing by incentivizing domestic production. So just like we talked about recently with Hyundai building another plant out here in Louisiana. So with these tariffs, this could influence more companies out here in the US. It does encourage a fairer trade practice with global partners. And I really like this right here because these tariffs aren't actually going into effect today. There is the 25% tariff on autos tonight at midnight, but the 10% baseline tariffs will commence on April 5th. And then on April 9th, so next Wednesday, is when more of these reciprocal tariffs will begin on the bigger countries. So like China, Vietnam, the bigger tariffs, that is when that will begin. And so the reason why I say this is a positive is because that Trump is a hard negotiator, as we know, the art of the deal. And so this could just be a part of the art of the deal to try to make the imbalance with trade more fair. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the numbers that we are seeing on screen are going to stick. There could always be a deal made between these countries, again, boosting and helping the overall trade deficit that we are seeing. So it helps to strengthen the US's bargaining powers. It does support American jobs and industries, but there are some negatives associated with this as well. This could lead to some higher consumer prices and inflation, and that is what a lot of folks are worried about. And so with these big tariffs, there's a lot of business leaders warning that this will raise the price for the U.S. consumers, because a lot of these companies do have international trade. They are getting parts from other countries and all that. And so if the price is going to be raised for them, you could expect that they are going to have to raise the price in return. So there could be some potential harm. And then also this could be risking the trade war could be risking some of our relationships with some other countries. But overall, I think that this is a positive, because with each set of tariffs, we have seen new investments into the United States. And so most recently, we saw the Hyundai $20 billion investment into U.S. manufacturing. This was this last month. The month before that, we saw the talks with Apple. And then the month before that, we saw the big AI infrastructure Stargate investment. And so with every single set of tariffs, there has been a big investment made in the United States. And even more positive than that, despite all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around the tariffs, each time these tariffs have actually been rolled back. And so overall, the markets don't react well to an uncertain environment. That is what we are in right now. It doesn't mean that these tariffs again can get rolled back some, or that there will be more negotiations or even more business investments into the United States. So the big dates that we're going to need to look for from here, the 10% again will go in effect on April 5th, and then the overall bigger tariffs, the ones that may be putting most investors into a state of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, will go into effect next April I'm sorry, next Wednesday on April 9th. And I apologize, guys. Usually, I love to be on camera, but I'm just feeling a little bit sick today. But I just wanted to come out and give this update on the markets and the whole tariff situation. And so with the tariffs, again, I don't think it is actually as negative as many may be thinking. And I think the drop that we had today could be just a little bit of a fake out. I think that we could be returning back to green soon. Hopefully this is the beginning of this trend being broken. But in markets, we can't just ignore the trends. Again, we've been in this downtrend since January. So what I would like to see for the markets is there to be a continued recovery tomorrow, but the markets may continue to sell off with the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around these tariffs. Again, with every set of tariffs, people were so worried about what the original tariff was going to be, but each time it got rolled back. Regardless of the tariffs being rolled back, it still did harm the stock market, as we have seen a lot of plays drop off just because of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around that. Again, these tariffs are reciprocal, so these are just reciprocating what other countries have done to us, and Trump does feel that these other countries are ripping us off. When you look at the numbers, it is hard to disagree with that take. And so overall, with the reciprocal tariffs starting next Wednesday on April 9th, that does give these countries a chance to respond, and there is a lot of negotiation that could go on until next Wednesday, and so these tariffs could be completely different than what we are seeing today. And so overall, I am still staying bullish on the markets. I think that this is a good buying opportunity, but as I always say, the markets could continue to drop. We don't want to ignore the downtrend that we are in, so you got to respect where the markets are at, but we have already seen a big retraction from the highs we were at in January. And so what I encourage investors to do is just to dollar cost average during these times, but again, don't throw the entire portfolio in there and don't over leverage yourself. I thank you guys all for being here today. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I would love to hear what you think about this situation, so please drop a comment down in the section below if you think the trade war is helping us or hurting us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I should be back on camera in the next video or two. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.